The top stories tonight in Y News. Anti-Marcos groups staged Black Friday protest in Pasay City against the alleged irregularities and fraud in the recently concluded 2022 elections.
The Commission on Elections explains the fast transmission of election returns despite the slow internet service in the country.
Former Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Chairman Benhur Abalos Jr. has accepted an offer to head the Department of the Interior and Local Government under the Marcos administration.
And for our global news, astronomers reveal first image of black hole at Milky Way's center.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, May 13, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Kat Dumaraos.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts. And I am Elsie Marcos.
First in the news, several groups flocked to the CCP complex in Pasay City today to join the Black Friday protest against the alleged irregularities and fraud in the recently concluded 2022 elections. The Commission on Elections, meanwhile, insists the credibility of the polls. Dante Amento tells us why.
Sinisimbolo nito ang ating pagluluksa sa pagpipil ng COMELEC at ng tambalang Marcos Duterte sa ating demokrasya.
Progressive groups and students continue to denounce the alleged massive cheating during the recent elections. They held a Black Friday protest this morning and attempted to march near the Philippine International Convention Center or PICC, where the canvassing by the National Board of Canvassers or NBOC COMELEC is ongoing. But they were blocked by troops of the Philippine National Police. The protesters want the poll body to be investigated for the alleged irregularities in the elections.
Milyon ang hindi nakaboto. Yung pangalawa, blitzkrieg. Ilang araw natin nalaman kung sinong panalo kay Biden at kay Trump dito sa Pilipinas. Isang araw lang. Parang mas magaling pa tayo sa US pala, no?
The Commission stresses, however, that there were no cheating and anomaly that occurred. The result of the election is accurate as it conforms with the data of PPCRV, NAMFREL, and other survey firms such as the Octa Research Group.
Idagdag ko na rin po ang Octa Research Group. Pinagkatiwalaan po natin ang Octa Research Group sa data natin sa pandemic. Siguro naman they earned the right na pagkatiwalaan natin din sila sa kanilang statement patungkol sa elections.
Meanwhile, the COMELEC appeals to those who are questioning the election's result to use the proper venue such as the different tribunals. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police has formed a special task force to handle post-election activities around the National Capital Region. Border checkpoints will also be activated upon entering the metropolis. Leia Ilagan reports why.
The National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO will not allow protesters to gather in public areas. This as thousands of rallies flock outside the cultural center of the Philippines today. NCRPO Director, Police Major General Felipe Natividad reminds protesters to hold their rallies in freedom parks.
Once that they will do it in any place na it's not allowed, magka-create tayo ng traffic, public disorder. So yun ang ayaw natin, yung makakaabala tayo sa mga motorista.
Natividad disclosed the creation of the Task Force Manila Shield, which aims to secure the National Capital Region, including the COMELEC, PICC, Malacanang, House of Representatives, and Senate, until the next administration is proclaimed.
Basically, that Task Force Manila Shield is to protect Metro Manila, parang yan. So, yung 4A and then yung ating Region 3, they will no longer allow yung mga, yun na yung medyo maraming mga buses na dumarating na kung saan sila galing. They will be questioned actually.
The NCRPO will also activate border checkpoints upon entering the metropolis. The team is composed of personnel from the NCRPO, Police Regional Office 3, Pro 4A, JTF NCR of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fire Protection, and Force Multipliers.
Yung mga border entry, yung mga entry points natin, babantayan yan, NCR and the Force, pati ng ating mga police din natin sa Calabarzon 4A and then the Region 3. They will just be a bit strict, more strict doon sa pagbabantay ng yung mga pumapasok.
The PNP assured they will continue to exercise maximum tolerance in protest rallies. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Foreign investors are playing a waiting game on how the next administration will revive the Philippine economy from the pandemic. According to an economist, the component of the next president's economic team will be crucial in encouraging more investors in the country. Rosalie Cos explains why.
It is not only the people in the Philippines who await the policy agenda of the incoming administration, but also the global investment community. According to Michael Ricafort, the chief economist of the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, there should be meaningful progress on the first days, months, and year of the new president to sustain the economic growth. The Philippines managed to be back on track following the 8.3% gross domestic product growth in the first quarter of 2022. This is amid the Omicron surge and way above market expectations.
Ngayon, hinintay natin yung detalye. We're at that juncture, announcements. Transition yung tinatrabaho ngayon. Make sure smooth yung transition, yung preparation para pag-assume in office June 30. So, obserbahan yan ng di ba? Global investment community.
Ricafort also stressed the importance of creating a credible, competent, and well-respected economic team by the new administration. This will boost the appeal among foreign investors and ensure continuity of fiscal policies.
Nakatulong din kasi yung reform measures. No? Napaka-importante niyan, especially sa coming administration. Kung masustain yung mga reform measures, yung mga policies na lalong mas makakatulong sa ekonomiya, ay yung variable na pwedeng gawin o yung value added na pwedeng gawin ng bagong administrasyon.
The chief economist believes if the COVID-19 situation in the country will continue to get better, the economic growth can be sustained. However, the new president will inherit a huge debt from the previous administration's borrowings to support the economy during the pandemic. The Philippines' outstanding debt obligations climbed to 63.5% of the gross domestic product as of March 2022, the highest in 17 years. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A group of businessmen hopes that the new administration will improve the booster vaccination in the country. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Improving booster vaccination in the country would add an additional protective layer against possible COVID-19 variants, according to Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship and Go Negosyo founder Joey Concepcion. He explains a more protected country would give way for economic recovery. With this, the official said the new administration should continue and improve the COVID-19 response started by the Duterte administration.
Itong health, kailangan alagaan itong mga bakuna, kailangan gabitin ng mga tao natin. Kung gusto natin mas umunlad yung economy at lagay na tayo ng malaking pera dito sa mga infrastruktura, ay kailangan hindi pwedeng mag-lockdown tayo uli or tumaas yung mga alert levels.
Concepcion adds that the improved COVID-19 response would prevent lockdowns, which previously affected the country's economy in the past 2 years. Concepcion said opening the economy would lighten the blow of the country's debt.
So, nakita natin, importante talaga buksan ang economy lahat ay umaarangkada, pati maliit na negosyante, para tuloy-tuloy at makakabayad tayo sa mga utang na nakuha natin dito para sa pandemya, para sa mga capital expenditure dito sa roads, bridges at iba pa na importante yan para tuloy-tuloy ang economic growth.
Apart from the vaccination rollout, the BBM administration should also provide a financing program to small businesses heavily affected by the pandemic. Meanwhile, the group of businessmen sends their support to the new administration. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Sara Duterte Carpio appeals to Filipinos to dismiss the callers and instead unite and help the next administration achieve a good governance. The presumptive vice president also urged her supporters to humble themselves after the election win. Janice Inhente reports why.
Presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio is grateful to all those who helped, supported, and trusted her in the 2022 national elections. She said her success was because of the dedication and unity of over 31 million Filipinos who voted for her. And with victory seemingly in the bag, the presumptive vice president urged her supporters to stop arguing with the supporters of other candidates and instead be humble and initiate unity.
Tayo na po ang mauna na lumapit sa mga nakatunggali na supporters ng mga natalong kandidato. Tayo na po ang magpakumbaba dahil tayo ang panalo. Tayo ang sana all, tayo ang Sara all. We have to be magnanimous because we are only 31.5 million. Kailangan natin sila para tayo ay maging isang 100% na bansa.
She also appeals to the Filipino people to stop politicking and work together for the benefit of the country.
Noong kampanya, sinabi ko na pagkatapos ng eleksyon ay kailangan nating kalimutan ang mga kulay na naging palatandaan ng ating politika. Ang mga kulay na ito ay naging mukha ng mainit na away ng mga supporters. At dahil tapos na ang kampanya at eleksyon, panahon na para kalimutan ang mga kulay ng pagkahiwa-hiwalay. Tapusin na natin ang pamumulitika.
Duterte Carpio likewise called on her supporters to continue backing her and her running mate, presumptive President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Marcos Jr., who sent a video message which was played during the event, also thanked volunteers and parallel groups that helped them in their campaign. The presumptive president promised that they would work hard to fulfill the promises they made during their campaign.
Nobody wins something this important or this big by themselves. Walang may kayang gumawa nito ng sarili. At this victory is as much mine and Inday Sara's, but it is also yours. Because if without you, we couldn't have done it. I mean, let's be very clear about that. Hindi namin kayang gawin na kami dalawa lang ni Inday. Ipagpatuloy naman natin at yung ating mga mensahe ay hindi naman lamang para sa kampanya yan. Yan ay tunay na ating paniniwala. Kaya ipagpatuloy natin ang ating sinimulan. And I hope to have you all with us as partners in the next 6 years.
Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Former Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Chairman Benhur Abalos is the second person to join the incoming cabinet of presumptive President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
The campaign manager of presumptive President Bongbong Marcos and former MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos has accepted the offer to become the next Secretary of the Department of the Interior and Local Government. Abalos left the MMDA post earlier this year in order to serve as Marcos campaign manager. The other Marcos cabinet that has been revealed so far is Presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio, who accepted the offer to become Department of Education Secretary. Rodriguez said Abalos is also a member of the transition team formed by Marcos in preparation for his takeover as Chief Executive.
For the transition team, as announced by President-elect Bongbong, the Campaign Executive Committee will serve as the transition team. And for the names of the transition team, it is to be led by yours truly.
Other members of the transition team are former Davao del Norte Representative Anton Lagdameo, former Manila Representative Naida Angping, and South Cotabato Governor Jun Tamayo. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Commission on Elections is looking at the possible proclamation of senators early next week, as they have canvassed more than half of the certificates of canvass from highly urbanized cities, provincial and official absentee voting. The poll body also explains the fast transmission of election results despite the slow internet service in the country. Aiko Miguel reports.
The National Board of Canvassers, headed by COMELEC Chairman Saidamin Pangarungan, suspended the session before 5 in the afternoon at the PICC Forum Tent City in Pasay City. Canvassing will resume tomorrow afternoon and canvass the remaining certificates of canvass.
We still have to wait for 35 certificates of canvass before we resume tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This generated canvass report number 3 will be available to the parties and council.
COMELEC acting spokesperson Director John Rex Laudianco optimistically said the proclamation of the 12 winning senators may happen early next week. The poll body has already decided the number of allowed companions per senator in party list groups with their nominees.
We still have to wait for the resolution for this. Just a bit of a guideline for senators who will be proclaimed, it will be the senator-elect himself or herself plus 3 companions. For the party list groups, it will be limited to 2, just 2.
Director Laudianco also emphasized that the COMELEC and Bank will still have to decide the proclamation process for the party list groups and their nominees.
Definitely, the senators will be proclaimed ahead of the party list. Kasi nga po, we really have to apply the computation. But then again, this is not the hard and fast rule. Titignan po ng Commission and Bank sitting as NBOC upon the guidance and advice of 2 committees, the Oversight Committee and the Supervisory Committee. Inaaral na po yan kung pwede naming isabay partially yung party list po.
COMELEC also explained why this is the fastest transmission of election results occurred during the 2022 national and local elections, despite the country's slow internet speed.
Hindi naman po large bandwidth ang kailangan ng transmission to bring it down to the level of layman. Yung pong pag-send natin ng ERs, mas comparable po siguro sa text messages. Yung text message po ba natin, dependent siya sa laki, bilis, o di ba? Hindi naman po, it's really a burst. Maliit lang na file data po ito. Kung titignan niyo po ito, napakaliit na file data ng lahat, ng ER, ng COCs.
COMELEC considers this 2022 elections a success despite reported glitches on several VCMs. Based on the COMELEC's report, 99.2% or 106,174 vote counting machines still work on the election day. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
President Vladimir Putin congratulates presumptive President Bongbong Marcos Jr. on his election win. According to the Russian embassy in the Philippines, President Putin sent a statement saying that he is looking forward to a fruitful cooperation between Russia and the Philippines in various areas. Putin also noted that the relationship between Russia and the Philippines have been traditionally friendly. The Russian leader is the latest among world leaders who sent their congratulatory messages to Marcos Jr.
The Department of Trade and Industry releases a new suggested retail price list. It includes 82 items under basic necessities and prime commodities. Asher Kadapan Jr. will give us the details live. Yes, Asher?
Also, the Department of Trade and Industry says prices of raw materials being used to manufacture products increased. With this, the agency approves the manufacturer's request for a price increase of 82 items under the basic necessities and prime commodities out of 218 stock keeping units in the suggested retail price list. These include canned fish, processed and canned pork, processed and canned beef, processed milk, drinking water in bottles and containers, bread, flour, vinegar, soy sauce, fish sauce, salt, instant noodles, coffee, laundry soap, detergent, toilet soap, candles, and batteries. The price increase for most items ranges from 2 to 10% or equivalent to 25 centavos to 1 peso and 50 centavos. In a statement, DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez says they have carefully evaluated the requests for price adjustments to ensure consumers of high-quality products at affordable prices. DTI Undersecretary Ruth Costello, on the other hand, assures that the increases in the SRPs were kept to a minimum level to provide consumers with the reasonably priced goods amid the pandemic. But some consumers still complain of the price increase.
Actually, every 2 weeks kasi ako nag-grocery. So, yung iba talaga, tumaas. So, ang hirap mag-adjust kasi yung sahod naman, di naman tumataas.
The Philippine Amalgamated Supermarkets Association, however, says they were not surprised by the new SRP as the price of different products increased almost every week. But the entrepreneur suggests to the new administration to designate right officials in corresponding agencies like DTI, National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, Finance, among others.
When you choose the right people, you still have to be decisive and coordinate properly. Kasi kung di sila decisive, today sasabihin ang holiday is Tuesday, the next day sabihin Wednesday, magkakagulo lahat, di ba? Nagmagulo na nga, lalong magkakalituhan pa.
LC, the DTI advises the public to check the new SRP list of basic and prime goods that may also be found on their website, www.dti.gov.ph, before going to the supermarkets or grocery stores and look for alternative items that may have lower price. LC?
Thank you, Asher Kadapan Jr., reporting live from Quezon City.
The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF, supports the conduct of face-to-face classes for all public and private institutions for basic school. However, the palace reiterates COVID-19 vaccination is not a requirement for the conduct of full in-person learning. Instead, the IATF strongly encourages public and private education institutions for basic education to undertake COVID-19 vaccination programs for their respective learners. This is through coordination with the Department of Health and respective local government units. However, COVID-19 vaccination programs shall be conducted with the informed consent given and signed by the parent or guardian and the assent given by the learner pursuant to applicable DOH guidelines.
The Department of Health warns of another surge of COVID-19 infections in July may happen if the booster vaccination in the country will remain low. JP Nunez explains why.
The Department of Health reports a decrease in number of individuals getting booster shots against COVID-19 in the National Capital Region. Based on DOH data from 1.8 million Filipinos who were boosted early January this year, it downgraded to more than 200,000 this April. DOH fears that vaccine immunity will wane to those who are fully vaccinated with the primary series but are not boosted. If the low turnout of booster vaccination continues, the DOH projects that by July this year, the country might experience a significant increase of COVID-19 cases.
Assuming na ganito pa rin ang rate ng pagbigay natin ng booster at may dumating na bagong variant na mas transmissible at may kakayahang mag-escape ng immunity, inaasahan natin ang peak ng kaso at ng mga ospital at ICU admission sa darating na Hulyo 2022.
The national data of booster immunization also reflects low turnout result and that out of 68.6 million who completed their primary series, only those 13.6 million got boosted. The DOH calls on the public to get vaccinated before the rainy season comes. Meanwhile, the DOH reiterates that despite the low average of COVID-19 cases in the country for the past weeks, the mandatory wearing of face masks will still remain. DOH spokesperson Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere explains that mandatory wearing of face masks will only be removed once the World Health Organization declares COVID-19 as an endemic stage, which signals the end of pandemic. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
After 2 years of claiming to have been COVID-19 free, North Korea records their first cases of the virus as outbreak spreads in the nation. Marvy Delfin will give us the details live. Yes, Marvy?
Kath, since Wednesday, residents have been ordered by their leader Kim Jong-un to isolate in their homes as the nation commences a strict countrywide lockdown. Details on the source of infection and number of cases were not disclosed, though the variant identified in the capital city Pyongyang has been confirmed to be the BA.2 Omicron variant. The outbreak has been named by the Korean Central News Agency, or KCNA, as the biggest emergency incident after the nation claimed to be free of the virus for the past 2 years since the pandemic began. Taking the emergency matter seriously, the nation's leader Kim Jong-un has been reported by the KCNA to have held meetings to swiftly eliminate the sources of infection, leaving many to believe it has become a serious problem. And while more than half of the world's population has been vaccinated, North Korea is a nation believed to be unvaccinated as they turned down the United Nations offers of the COVAX program. Kath?
Thank you, Marvy Delfin, for that live report.
The number of people who have died from COVID-19 in Europe has passed 2 million, although the World Health Organization called it a devastating number. The figures only represent a fraction of the deaths caused directly by COVID-19 and from the indirect effects of the pandemic over 2 years. The WHO European region spans from Greenland to Russia's Pacific shores and includes Central Asia, along with countries such as Turkey and Ukraine. The SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus is still a killer virus, especially for unvaccinated and clinically vulnerable, according to the health body.
Amid Russia's war in Ukraine and threats, Finland's leaders came out to be in favor of applying to join NATO. Jane Robles tells us why, live. Yes, Jane?
Kath, Finland's president and prime minister on Thursday calls for the application to join NATO alliance without delay. This paves the way for Finland to maximize its own security and to strengthen the entire defense alliance, according to a joint statement by President Sauli Niinisto and Prime Minister Sanna Marin. Finland will officially announce its decision on Sunday after the country's parliament and other senior political figures consider the decision. The application process could also take months to complete. Sweden is also expected to make a decision in the coming days, and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg says that the alliance openly welcomes Finland and Sweden. Meanwhile, the Kremlin reacts to this development, stating that Finland's accession to NATO would inflict serious damage to their relations and has warned of military and political repercussions should Finland and Sweden become NATO members. Gas?
Thank you, Jane Robles, for that live report.
The world's first image of Milky Way's black hole unveiled recently doesn't portray a voracious cosmic destroyer. Instead, astronomers called it a gentle giant. Nerissa Dando reports why live. Yes, Nerissa?
Good evening, Elsie. The black hole in our galaxy, or the Sagittarius, a star astronomers name it, is on a near-starvation diet. Professor Faryal Ozel of the Event Horizon Telescope said that black holes devour galactic material. However, one astronomer said Sagittarius, a star, is eating very little, like a person eating a single grain of rice over millions of years. Scientists had expected the Milky Way's black hole to be more violent, but since the gentle giant is on a fasting diet, little material is falling into the center.
Light escaping from the hot gas swirling around the black hole appears to us as the bright ring. Light that is too close to the black hole, close enough to be swallowed by it, eventually crosses its horizon and leaves behind just a dark void in the center.
Previous images of the Milky Way's black hole that's about the size of the orbit of Mercury were jumpy as it gargled and warbled. 8 telescopes around the world coordinated closely to get a good image, which was a challenge according to Ozel. The colored image confirms Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. Astronomers said that the black hole at the center of our Milky Way is precisely the size that Einstein's equations dictate. Back to you, Elsie.
Thank you, Nerissa Dando, reporting live from Japan.
The national government is preparing to donate around 3 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to countries with vaccine shortage. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
National Task Force Against COVID-19 Medical Advisor Dr. Tedros Boza laments that the vaccination rollout in the country has slowed down. In order to prevent any more vaccine wastage, the national government eyes to donate COVID-19 vaccines.
Meron na tayong mga hinahanda na idodonate natin, yung ating Sputnik vials, both the dose 1 and dose 2. I think ang total nun mga 3 million na idodonate natin.
According to the official, around 3 million vaccines will be donated to several ASEAN countries, including Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. Countries in South Africa will also receive vaccine supplies. The Department of Foreign Affairs is tasked to process the donations of COVID-19 vaccines.
May na-mention din na African countries that want them. Yun yung current situation. I'm sure kung meron pang mga pwedeng idodonate natin. Pero of course, ang gusto natin, magamit natin yan sa ating mga kababayan.
Meanwhile, around 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines donated by the COVAX facility to the Philippines have expired. These are the vaccines delivered to various regions in the country which were not used. However, Dr. Herbosa assured the COVAX facility will replace the expired vaccines.
Pinangako ng COVAX na papalitan nila. So, hinihintay lang natin yung replacement noon. So, because these were donations naman.
Aside from the 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines, a former IATF medical advisor Dr. Anthony Liachon said there are 27 million more vaccines that will expire in July. During an interview in Politiscoop, Dr. Liachon said the national government allotted the expiring COVID-19 vaccines for booster vaccination.
ang problema po is an oversupply na magkakaroon po ng expiration sa July worth 27 million doses and 13 billion. So sa July po yan. At ang una nag-red flag niyan ay si Presidential Advisor Joey Concepcion.
The government will also request the manufacturer of AstraZeneca to extend the shelf life of the vaccines. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of James chapter 1 verse 13. It says, "Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man." And those are the reasons behind the news on May 13, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Elsie Marcos.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Kat Maraos. We serve the people. We give glory to God.